the media, all they talk about is Caitlyn. Caitlyn could throw somebody a bounce pass. Oh my God, she threw it. It's all about Caitlyn.
Remember all the girls that were just all talking shit about her from the beginning? This was a tune change because that's how they roll. That WNBA is woke as shit. The NBA is woke as shit. And they had to tell her, you better change your thing or we're not going to get behind you 100%. And she did. She bowed down, and that's exactly what happened.
You're too cute by half, and you've managed to piss off your fan base.
Caitlin Clark just landed Times Athlete of the Year, and honestly, it's a massive achievement for someone so young. But here's the thing, her acceptance interview has everyone losing their minds over what she said. During the sit-down, Clark dropped this quote, "I want to say, I've earned every single thing, but as a white person, there is a privilege. And a lot of those players in the league that have been really good have been black players. This league has kind of been built on them. Now people are going absolutely crazy over these words." You've got one camp celebrating her for calling out racial inequality, which, let's be real, has been bubbling under the surface in sports forever. Then you've got the other side completely ripping into her, saying she's folding to woke pressure and throwing away her authentic voice. So now fans are at each other's throats and everyone's asking the same thing. Where does this leave Caitlin Clark, and will her fan base still ride with her? We're diving into what all the big voices are saying, starting with Candace Owens, who actually backs Clark up while breaking down this whole mess.
She's 22 years old. I don't know a single commentator out there, Megyn Kelly included, who did not at some point throughout their political career have the wrong perspectives. But for whatever reason, we've decided Caitlyn's not allowed that time to grow. She's not allowed time to change. She's got to be a perfect MAGA candidate and I guess stand up to the entire mob. This girl's literally being bullied, physically bullied, I will say, by the way, on the court. And we know the basis of that is quite racist. I think she just wants to survive. I think genuinely Caitlyn just wants to survive.
Think about this for a second. Caitlin Clark has skyrocketed to the top so fast that we sometimes forget she's still incredibly young. Her meteoric rise makes it seem like she's been in the spotlight forever, but the reality is she's still figuring out how to handle this massive stage while getting pulled into culture war battles she never asked for. Now let's jump to what Dave Portnoy from Barstool Sports had to say about all this. Here's what makes Portnoy different from most people commenting on the Clark situation. He actually watches basketball and knows the game. He jumped on Instagram and Twitter with some raw, unfiltered thoughts about Clark's comments and how everyone's reacting to them.
Caitlin Clark's popularity has absolutely nothing to do with the color of her skin. Anybody who has actually watched women's basketball or watched Caitlin knows she plays totally different than any woman before her.
Portnoy completely destroys the idea that Caitlin Clark only succeeded because she's white, arguing that her insane basketball talent is what actually separates her from everyone else. Her game is so next level that she's become the biggest name in women's basketball history, and that's not even debatable at this point. Portnoy also calls out all these commentators jumping into the debate who don't even watch hoops. He points out how people from every corner of the culture wars are using Caitlin Clark as their poster child for causes she doesn't even back. This whole thing has twisted her words and turned her into something she's not, just so people can push their own narratives.
All the people who are like co-opting this, who aren't real basketball fans, who aren't real Caitlin Clark fans, are like, oh, the woke mob got to her. She's now saying her success is because of the skin and she has privilege. First of all, she didn't say she had that. She said she earned everything she got. But what do you want Caitlin Clark to do?
Portnoy goes deeper, explaining that the whole situation around Caitlin Clark's comments matters way more than the actual words she said. He thinks her statements are really just smart positioning to survive in the WNBA world rather than some deep political belief. In Portnoy's view, Caitlin's main goal is dodging these toxic debates so she can focus on what actually matters, which is dominating on the basketball court.
She plays in a league that is predominantly African American, and she wants to maybe show up at work and not have people hate her. She wants the league to be successful. The more successful, more stars, the better it is for her and everybody in the league. This backlash of Caitlin turned on the league and Caitlin is woke and Caitlin is this. You fuckers are crazy. And that's what I hate. This, for Caitlin, has never been about politics.
Look, this was never about race to begin with. The drama around Caitlin Clark might get her more clicks and social media buzz, but it's obvious she wants nothing to do with any of it. She's always been low-key and humble, never trying to be some political spokesperson. Basketball is her world. It's what she lives for, and it's what she's absolutely incredible at, which is exactly why she got Times Athlete of the Year. Sure, all the arguments and hot takes around her have definitely boosted her profile, but maybe it's time we just let her cook and appreciate the basketball genius we're watching. Dan Patrick, the legendary broadcaster, said it perfectly when he told everyone to just soak up greatness when it's right there in front of you. The guy has seen decades of sports history, and he knows how rare someone like Caitlin Clark really is. He's basically saying stop trying to tear her down and be grateful we get to witness this kind of generational talent.
Can't we just acknowledge Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA? That's it. It's okay. You want to throw in Angel Reese, you want to throw the memory of Cheryl Miller or Cynthia Cooper. Like, it's a win. We got to... This is a unique moment. Caitlin Clark did for the WNBA what Wayne Gretzky did for the NHL when he went to the LA Kings.
We don't need to turn everything a celebrity does into some political statement. Sometimes we should just step back and appreciate what made them special from the jump. Giving Caitlin Clark props for her incredible basketball skills doesn't somehow disrespect other players. Dan Patrick hammers this point home, telling everyone to just celebrate excellence for what it actually is. That's perfectly fine.
Take a victory lap. You don't have to go, oh my God, these people are mad, or this person's mad, or this group is mad. Caitlin Clark changed the WNBA. It's okay. It's okay to say that. You're not diminishing what the founding, fathers of the WNBA did. You're not. She's the time person.
Stephen A. Smith, who usually loves creating drama around athletes and their personal comments, actually showed some class when talking about Caitlin Clark's interview. Instead of stirring up unnecessary controversy, he started by giving her flowers for her incredible play, establishing respect before even touching on her controversial statement.
She brings big time play to the equation, big time attention, and then she steps out. Absolutely no obligation to do so. And she points out the disparity in treatment between her as a white player and black players who preceded her and achieved so much, but lacked the level of recognition she received. Her heart has been in the right place. She deserves major kudos for her heart being in the right place.
He keeps praising Caitlin Clark's authentic personality and intelligence, recognizing what a solid person she is, both on the basketball court and in real life. He also called out a WNBA legend who's been constantly hating on Clark, pointing out how political angles get wrongfully attached to her words without any real context or thoughtful discussion.
She didn't have to do those things, but she's done those things, which is further evidence that her heart has always been in the right place. And people who were looking for an excuse to denigrate her in any way, their issue wasn't with her, it was with a bigger issue. And they may have been justified in terms of their thinking along those lines, but to aim their ire in her direction directly was foolhardy and not advisable. And it was a huge mistake on the part of people like Cheryl Swoops and others.
Caitlin Clark has dealt with brutal criticism from her haters, but this whole situation has actually flipped some of her biggest critics. One of those people is Elle Duncan, who was absolutely destroying Clark just a few months back during all that controversy about the rough treatment she was getting in the WNBA. Now, in a complete 180, Duncan has been showering the superstar with praise, which just shows how powerful Clark's performances have been in winning people over.
I think, it's so well deserved by Caitlin Clark. The thing that Time Magazine does really well too is, their people of the year aren't necessarily who's the most popular, although in this case, this is true. It's also people who have, been a part of conversations, the cultural relevancy that comes along with it. It's why sometimes the Time Person of the Year is not a particularly likable person necessarily. And so no matter how you feel about the contributions of Caitlin Clark or the rest of the league, some of the narratives and the discourse that were surrounding it, that is also playing into why she was Times Athlete of the Year. These conversations in the W had been bubbling for a very long time. It's nothing new. I mean, these women changed the course of an entire election, and certainly not very many people were happy about that at the time.
Elle Duncan seems to understand how much the storylines around Caitlin Clark actually matter, maybe because she helped create some of them herself. It's worth remembering that Duncan's previous comments about Clark from just months earlier were pretty brutal and nasty, which definitely added more fire to the controversy back then.
I'm tired of it being people who are not in this circle or space at all who suddenly have all these opinions about how these women need to treat Caitlin Clark. What do you want from them? They want to beat her because she's not on their team. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? Yeah. Y'all stop it. We already know she's transformational. They've all said it. How many times do they gotta say it?
Jim Jackson, who knows basketball inside and out as a longtime commentator, analyst, and former NBA player, responded to some recent comments from Sheila Johnson, who owns the Washington Mystics. We'll get to Johnson's take in a minute, but Jackson, with his deep knowledge of pro basketball from every angle, made it crystal clear that he completely disagrees with her opinion. Instead, he went hard defending Caitlin Clark, arguing that she absolutely deserves all the recognition and praise she's getting in the WNBA.
I don't agree with the Mystics owner saying that the whole WNBA should have been named that, because that's not true. The whole WNBA benefited this year from the viewership increase because of the excitement between Angel Reese and also Caitlin Clark. But from a pure marketing perspective, Caitlin Clark was it.
Sheila Johnson's take might be the wildest one we're covering today, and it definitely got people fired up across the board. Almost everyone who responded came back negative because what she said just left people completely confused about what she was even trying to accomplish.
I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now, it is time for that to happen. So last night, we read Time magazine where Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said, the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect everybody that's playing and their talents.
People have been absolutely roasting Sheila Johnson's comments, calling her completely out of touch with reality. Her idea to put the entire WNBA on the cover as League of the Year has been laughed off as completely ridiculous, almost like a parody of itself. Even worse is how contradictory she sounds, claiming she doesn't want to make it about race while literally starting her whole argument by focusing on racism. The irony is thick because Johnson said she wanted to avoid drama, but ended up creating even more controversy with her statement. It's really unfortunate how Caitlin Clark keeps getting dragged into these racism debates, especially when she's never tried to push any political agenda in that direction. Sarah Haynes picked up on this contradiction when she responded to the interview.
Because she's always saddled with these issues that she doesn't have herself. This is not, you know, they pitted Angel Reese against her, and it was always coming down to race and all these things. Caitlin Clark said in that interview, I earned everything I got. Her stats speak for themselves. She broke records that were 50 years old. But recognizing that this was built on the shoulders of people, a game she admired, players and teammates that she loved. And the most important thing she said, actually, is that brands and companies have to invest in those players too, and she needs to keep making them aware of that.
Caitlin Clark has already done incredible things for the sports, not just by shining light on the problems it faces, but through her amazing play and the passionate fan base she's built. Megyn Kelly pointed out how Clark manages to stay locked in on what she does best, even with all these distractions swirling around her, which really shows her incredible focus and professionalism.
She's the Michael Jordan of the WNBA, and she's become a phenom in part because the players of the WNBA can't fucking stand her. Why? Because she's white. It's abject, absolute racism. It's total racism. And one of the things that's been admirable about Caitlin is she just continues to play her game and put points on the board and she does very well, and she wins games, and she puts butts in the seats, and she sells tickets, and she gets people tuning in on television. And all really we want to hear from anybody about this is thank you to Caitlin Clark for making our league relevant and so on. But instead, she's been bullied repeatedly by the players in this league.
But Megyn Kelly has actually become one of the harshest critics of Caitlin Clark's interview. She thinks Clark's comments showed too much shame and guilt about being white, and even claimed that what she said was actually disrespectful to black players.
She feels the need to acknowledge her white privilege. Basically, she's sorry she's white. She feels really bad about it, though, so you should give her a pass. And then she makes a point of saying, the ones we really need to be celebrating are the black women on whose backs this league was built, which I have to tell you is so condescending.
It really
It's
is.
true that most of these black women have been bullying her and want her to understand it's their league. Hello, you don't own the league. Blacks don't own the league.
Megyn Kelly went after Caitlin Clark for what she saw as caving to pressure from the woke crowd and bending to what they wanted her to say in the media. She breaks down this viewpoint even more in her response.
They want her on the knee. You'll bend the knee and you'll apologize for being white, and you will suck up to the black women who built this league before you, or you will be beaten. You will be assaulted, and you will be bullied with no friends. So she does it. She finally did it. She bent the knee, self-flagellated over white privilege.
Megyn Kelly's brutal takedown of Caitlin Clark's statement got other commentators fired up, including Candace Owens, who we mentioned at the start of this breakdown. Kelly didn't pull any punches, calling Clark fake and questioning whether she actually meant anything she said.
I'm sorry, but if she really just wants the spotlight to be on the deserving black players who surround her and on whose backs this league was built, then you shouldn't have taken the honor. Then you should have said, make the WNBA the team of the year, the league of the year. What I don't need right now is an additional singled out honor. That's what she should have done. You can't have it both ways.
Gilbert Arenas gave Caitlin Clark credit for the massive boost she's brought to the WNBA. While he admits her success might create some jealousy among WNBA players who want that same spotlight and attention, as competitors, Arenas pushes them to see it as something great for the entire league and women's basketball overall.
It's good for the W because it just keeps putting a light on the sport for everybody else to eat. And, sometimes, just as athletes, we are competitive by nature, and, we don't like when someone's getting something that we don't think they deserved, right? When we've been in a game. But we have to understand, the more loaves that someone gets, the more crumbs everybody else gets, if you think of it like that. If there's only one loaf, right?
Can I get a slice?
And we get a slice.
Yeah, some slices.
Right?
Yeah,
we get a slice, we get one slice. Right?
whole slice.
If this person now has 4 loaves, we get 4 slices, right? And I think the more walls get knocked down, there's more opportunity for everyone to eat.
In that same Gil's Arena episode, Cheryl Swoops also shared what she thought about the whole situation. Not surprisingly, she seemed reluctant to give Caitlin Clark the credit that most people think she's earned. This hesitation makes sense given that she's been consistently critical of Clark throughout her rise.
I don't think I'm surprised. I'm curious to know who the other candidates were, but the fact that that's the very first WNBA player to ever win Time Magazine Athlete of the Year is pretty special. And my question is, like the criteria, is it based off of her performance on the court, which, yeah, she had a great year, or is it more about the impact that she had on the game this season?
Caitlin Clark absolutely deserves that Athlete of the Year title, and you can see it just by how one interview got literally everyone talking. From the biggest sports media personalities to major political voices, everyone has jumped into the conversations that her words started. So who do you think nailed it best out of all these different takes we just covered? Regardless of where you land on this one thing, can't be argued. Very few athletes have reached the kind of influence that Clark has right now. Her impact is going to keep shaping both the sports world and our bigger cultural conversations for a long time.